All right, today we're going to go through the laws or rules of exponents and simplifying exponential expressions. So each slide will match up with a box in your notes, and they tentatively go in order. All right, on this first one, the parts of powers. So in general, this whole term can be called a power. So when you have something to an exponent, the bigger sized something is called your base, and then the n is the exponent. This will also, I will very regularly refer to this as an exponential expression. And if you want an example, there's tons of examples. You could do like x squared, you could do b to the 14th, you could do 3 cubed, right? Those would all be things considered powers or exponential expressions because they have a base and they have an exponent, okay? All right, let's go ahead to this next one. And I'll also be pausing this video as you go so that way you can get all your notes in. So what does a power mean? So power means that you multiply the base times itself as many times as the exponent indicates. So when you do 4 to the third power, that means you're doing 4 times itself 3 times, 4 times 4 times 4. If I was going to do x to the 6th power, that means I'm going to multiply x times itself 6 times. Right? A big one here that gets students is, for example, this is why when you do a -1 squared, you always end up with a positive number, because this really means you're doing -1 times -1, right? Times 2 times. And so then -1 times -1 would be a positive 1, okay? But that's what a power means, and that's what your exponent means on whatever given base you have. All right, multiplying powers with the same base. When we do so, we add the exponents. So a to the 5th times a to the 7th means that we're adding the exponents. I also like to think of it as I have 5 a's here and I have 7 a's here. So total, how many a's do I have? Well, I have 12 of them, because you could write it out if you wrote them out specifically, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And those are all multiplying times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, really, those are still just multiplying too. So really, I'm multiplying together 12 a's, and that's how you get to that answer. Parentheses placement. So when you substitute in something, especially into like a function notation piece, right? If I have x squared and then I want you to substitute in well, I guess x to the 4th in this scenario, and then I want you to substitute in -2. That's why I emphasize so much that you need parentheses around it, because you're really trying to do -2 times itself 4 times. For this problem, that would be like if you had a negative out front and then I just wanted you to plug in a 2. That negative isn't a part of what's getting to the 4th, right? It's not getting, it's just a negative, and then 2 is multiplying by itself 4 times. So there's a big difference between when you do -2 times itself 4 times and then a negative times 2 to the 4th. Parentheses are very important. All right. When you divide powers with the same base, I actually, we never write them like this. So technically you're subtracting your exponents, but if we were actually going to see something like this, you would have b to the 25th over b to the 5th. And then what I always do is, instead of worried about subtraction, because with subtraction you could run into problems and like negative exponents if you ended up having like more variables on the bottom, like a to the 9th on the bottom, right? You'd end up with a negative number if you tried to subtract them. So the question I always ask, and this is how I teach it, I always say, well, where do you have more b's? Well, I have more on top. How many more do you have on top? 20. So what would happen is that 5 of the b's on the bottom cancel 5 of the b's on top, and your answer would be b to the 20th. This works really well here as well, because I could say, instead of having to do the subtraction and then dealing with a negative exponent, right, 5 minus 9, I could just say, well, where do you have more a's? You could say, well, on the bottom. And I would say, how many more do you have? You say, well, 4. And I said, that's right. 5 of the a's on top would cancel with 5 of the a's on bottom, and I'd be left with 4 a's in the denominator, right? So I like to think of when you're dividing powers with the same base, just figure out where you have more of those exponential expressions, or where do you have more of those bases, and then how many more are there. Those will help. That'll be how it gets to your final answer. Technically, we're subtracting exponents, but there you go. All right. When we are multiplying, when you have the power of a product, so that means when you have an expression inside of parentheses to another power, right? The first thing we have to ask ourselves is, can I distribute that exponent? And in this scenario, we'd say yes, absolutely, because there's no addition or subtraction. So I can distribute that exponent to each piece. It stays an exponent, so 2, it doesn't become 2 times 4, it's 2 to the 4th power. But when I have an exponential expression to another exponent, when you have a power to a power, you multiply those exponents together. So a squared to the 4th becomes a to the 2 times 4. You multiply the exponent piece together. And then b secretly had a 1 on it, so when you did that exponential expression to another exponent, you multiply the 1 and the 4. That only works if you have a power, so like x squared to the 8th. Right? I have an exponential expression to another exponent. So I have a power to a power, so I can multiply my 2 and my 8 together. And then you can simplify from there, right? A to the 8th now, b to the 4th, and then you can actually do 2 to the 4th in your head or in your calculator, and you get 16. The biggest mistake we see here is that students don't want to treat this 4 as an exponent when they apply it to an actual number. They want to do 2 times 4. No, it's 2 to the 4th power. This 4 is staying in the exponent in all of these situations. All right. Any number raised to the 0 power equals 1 automatically. So even if you saw things that were like this, x cubed y to the negative 5 all over 6 to the 0 power. Oops. Boop. Make my parentheses look at least match. Automatically, you can say 1, because that's anything raised to the 0 power. When you have the power of a quotient is what happens when you divide inside of an exponential expression. The same thing happens here, right? We see, can I distribute this exponent? I would say, absolutely. Why wouldn't you be able to? You don't have any addition or subtraction going on. So you can go ahead and distribute that 5 in there. And when you have powers to powers, an exponential expression to another exponent, then you multiply those. So x to the 3 times 5, so x to the 15th, and then x to the 2 times 5, or excuse me, y to the 2 times 5 would be y to the 10th. And then last but not least for our, not last but not least, very close though, you learned about this in Algebra 2 briefly, but basically if you have a fractional exponent, we learned that the numerator or the top of your fraction, it becomes the exponent, right? And then the denominator is the index. In Algebra 2 you called it power over the index. So that way your little index is a type of root or the type of radical you're taking. So here would be a cube root. And then your power remains on the actual base. Excellent. All right. And then now last but not least, we have some negative exponents. So negative exponents, you change the sign and use what's called the reciprocal. For a reciprocal, a less kind of fancy or formal math definition for that is I always just say that if you have an exponential expression with a negative exponent, it's currently living on the wrong side of a fraction. So technically x to the negative 4th is over 1, right? And because it has a negative exponent, it's living on the wrong side of the fraction. So I often draw a little circle around it and then I move it to where it's supposed to be, right? So then I move it down here and now it's where it's supposed to be, so it is a positive exponent. Same thing with over here, right? I had an n to the negative 3rd, so it was currently living on the wrong side of the fraction. I can move it up here and then it becomes a positive exponent because now it's living on the right side of the fraction. Technically it's still over 1, right? The biggest mistake I'll see here is when students, for example, if they have b to the negative 5th and a to the negative 3rd all over c, for example. Well, they would say, well, these have negative exponents, so they're currently living on the wrong side of the fraction and they just want to move them down. So they live on the right side of the fraction. And then they write b to the 5th C, a to the third. And then they just end there. Why is this incorrect? Well, it's incorrect because they're not on the bottom of the fraction anymore, right? What secret number is always technically multiplying by all of these pieces? These all technically have a 1 attached to them, right, out front. So if you move all of these pieces, the parts with the negative exponents, to the bottom of the fraction, the number that should still be in the numerator is a 1, because now they are actually on the bottom of the fraction, and my 1 is still up there, okay? So like I said, that's the biggest mistake I see with these ones. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some examples. So go ahead and pause, and the examples are going to start on your next page.